partnership that we're really proud of?
You can get with us on Facebook. We post the times and dates on our meetings and classes. If not, we got hard copies out there in the foyer. We got any of them recovery Bibles left?
We just got a new case tonight, so we got a bunch left.
If anybody's interested in that, get with Barry. He'll be glad to give you one.
Those are free. You want one? Just ask me.
We offer drug and alcohol counseling. Community service hours. We know all the people in drug court, we need them. Yeah, we're all adults, y'all. We make a mess, pick it up. There are people that come here to get community service hours cleaning, but they don't just do the small stuff. We can pick up our big stuff. Anybody want to help with the hero bracelets?
I'm not as pretty looking as you know them, Doug.
Here, put
I
that
think
on
everybody hear me.
that way everybody can
No,
hear.
I think everybody hear me as it is.
Talk like she does,
She say I but she look pretty than I am. All right, here we go. 24 hours to 29 days.
Don't be shy. Come get it.
All right. How about 1 month? 2 months? 3 months? 6 months? 9 months? 1 year? 2 years? That's as far as we go on this.
anything over 2 years, we'll have.
I told you I wasn't as pretty as she was, so they won't answer me.
Anything over 2 years, we'll get a picture taken and our certificate.
Next month.
All right, we got something kind of special. I feel like it is. Barry, come up here, buddy.
What?
We got a 11-year sobriety milestone for ours truly, Mr. Barry Walker.
Thank you so much.
And I'll let you introduce Terrance.
Okay, all right, that'd be fine.
You want to say something to everybody?
All right. Well, I certainly appreciate this. This is, I won't say it's been easy, but I appreciate it. Now I'm working on 12 years. And the only thing I really have to say about this is that if I can do this, everybody in this room can do it too. But it's not easy, and you have to have a program. Mine I did through AA, and then we started other different programs here. And we've seen a lot of success. We've seen a lot of success here of people who their families had given up on them, their friends had given up on them, their jobs had given up on them. Everybody had given up on them except us. And the key to this thing is never give up. Never give up on your friends or on your family or on somebody that's in addiction. Because that miracle is just around the corner. God is just waiting for that next miracle. Well, tonight we've got a speaker that is just, to me, I love this guy. This is his third or fourth time here, and he's from Meridian. I don't even know his last name. I just know Terrance K, and that's all I want to know. And that's probably all he wants me to know too. But I know he's got a story, and an inspiring story, and that's what this is all about. For you to come here and listen to inspiring stories. Because when you hear a story of somebody that has come through what he's come through, then it gives us the inspiration that, you know what, we can do this thing too. We can do it too. Terrance, come on up, brother. I'll give you the show. Love you, man.
Hey everybody, my name's Terrance. I'm an addict.
Hey, Terrance.
Yeah, this is
Thank you. Appreciate it, brother.
going to be a little reciprocal stuff going on. I know a couple of you guys in the room, actually. I walked in and didn't want to say anything. I want you guys to know that my story is not special, okay? If you guys can do me a favor and remove the way I look, and I'll do a favor and I'll remove the way all you guys look, so that we can get to the commonality between all of us. See, because when I came into the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, which is where my story started, I found my way into Alcoholics Anonymous. I found my way into churches. I found my way into therapy sessions. I found my way into snake handling and all sorts of things. And it takes what it takes, you know. It takes what it takes. But when I found my way into recovery, man, I realized that I couldn't I desperately wanted to not be where I was at, like desperately. But I didn't know how to get somewhere I had never been. And so I stayed stuck in this this cycle of going out and using and coming back in and not being okay with being there and not being okay with being here and just kind of stuck flip-flopping between the two. And after some step work, man, some years clean, I realized that, matter of fact, I had a gentleman in Virginia walk up to me one time, and had been around for a while, man, and I was just I wasn't putting myself in the middle of anything. Now, when I was using, man, I'd put myself in the middle of anything, right? Because I knew something about what was going on, you know? But I didn't know anything about recovery. So I didn't put myself in the middle. And the reason I felt so kind of on the outside is that I didn't relate to anybody, you know? You had a blazer on. You know what I mean? Like, who wears a blazer? You know? I hated myself for selling all my jewelry. So I couldn't hang out with the guy who had jewelry on, you know? And that guy's skin was too dark. And this guy had gold teeth. And that was a woman. She couldn't possibly understand what a man's going through. You know, it was all this trash that was keeping me separated from a group of people that I would later depend on to save my life, you know? And but it takes time. It takes time to go through the things that it's required for us to go through in order to get us to the place where God wants us to be. And I'll tell you guys a quick story. It was this guy who, I think I said this last time I was here, there was this guy that fell into a giant hole. He was walking down the street one day, just bam, just fell into this giant hole. And he's kicking and screaming and fussing and fighting. He can't get out. Like, this hole's pretty deep, you know. And the strange thing was that he saw the hole coming, right? And he still decided that he was going to step into this hole. And he's crying out to God, man. He's like, God, please help me, you know. And this preacher walks up and sits down on the edge of this giant cliff, you know. The hole's big, size of this room, you know. And he said, what's going on? And he talks with the guy and he prays with the guy, you know. And when he gets done, he has a word of prayer with him and he gets up and he walks off. And the guy's screaming like, hey, man, I'm still in this hole, you know. Like, oh, man, like, please help me, God, help me. And so the person walks in, a suit and tie type, you know, and sits down and the guy tells him all about his life and his childhood and his abuses and what he's done to people and just like therapeutic type stuff, you know. When he got done, the guy got up and he walked off and he's still screaming, you know. He's lost hope at this point. There's nothing left for this guy to do, you know. So he's just kind of turned his back on the top of the hole and just realized he's going to be there for the rest of his life. And this other gentleman walks up, just an average looking fellow, you know, and he says, hey, man, what are you doing down there in that big hole, you know? He said, man, I fell in here some time ago. I've been trying to get out. And he said, it's okay, man. You can leave. And he turns his back and, you know, just kind of sits down. And he hears this noise behind him. He spins around and he's like, man, what do you do? What'd you jump in the hole with me for, man? Like, now we're both stuck in this daggum hole together. And he said, hey, man, calm down. I've been in this hole before. I know how to get out. And that's what recovery's been for me, man. I had to go through the process of finding out the plan that God had for me, because some things were a catalyst to lead me to another thing. And that thing led me to another thing, because not everything here works for everyone. Just like I'm sitting here speaking, but guess what? Some of y'all ain't gonna hear nothing I have to say. And that's okay, because what I have to say isn't meant for everybody. Right? It's meant for maybe one person. So I have to go through all of the people I have to go through for maybe saving one person, but I wouldn't trade my past for anything.
It's not a one-size-fits-all.
It's not. This gentleman right here in the front, is this your daughter? Yeah. By the way, you're beautiful. Yeah. I love kids, by the way, man. Got 3 boys of my own. Your message is uniquely tailored to fit someone. So stick around until you get the opportunity to start doing what it is that you're supposed to be doing with that message. And it goes for everybody in the room. Everybody is uniquely qualified with their story to help someone. It's just a matter of when. You know what I mean? Just a matter of when. I was listening to a podcast earlier. I listen to a podcast almost daily. And the guy at the end of the podcast goes, take time today to focus on that magic 6-letter word, others. And man, every time I hear him say it, I'm like, it kind of sounds cliche, you know what I mean? But at the same time, how much time did I spend focused on others whenever I was using? Never. It was me, just absorbing, destroying, collecting, just taking, man, all the time. That's all I did was take. Because I thought that's what life was. I thought life was taken because I had had so much taken from me. And I'll give you guys a little bit of backstory. I was born in 1978, Biloxi, Mississippi. Family of 6. I'm the youngest. And you got to be loud when you're the youngest. You know what I mean? Like, I was the runt of the family, if you will, of the litter. And I had a very loud personality, a very twisted sense of humor. I had to find a way to be seen. I had to find a way to be heard. I didn't have to fight for my food, but I had to fight for the attention that I got. And at a young age, I realized that it doesn't matter how the attention comes, as long as I get the attention. So I would seek negative attention the same as I would positive attention. Later on in life, you guys, I realized that, and this is later on in life before recovery, I didn't have any self-worth. I had none, 0. It was non-existent. My self-worth was just not there. I didn't know what success was. I was scared to death of even the idea of success. I wouldn't dare ask for a family because I didn't deserve it. I wouldn't ask for a job. Wouldn't pray for a job. Now, of course, eventually, being the guy that was in the hole, I was definitely willing to ask for help. The problem is like a lot of us in the room, I was sent help. But then I wanted to tell the help how to help me. You know, and that doesn't work out so well, right? Who am I to tell the help how to help me? You know, I need to be in a position of receiving. And not to sound gross here, but I had grabbed my ankles many a time. If you know what I'm talking about, right? Because I didn't know any different. Like that was my lot in life, you know. I had a sponsor in Florida, and he took me to a business meeting one day, and it was with the activities subcommittee of the group that I was in. And I was kind of like, activity subcommittee, you know, I thought subcommittees were for like politicians or something, you know. And we sat down and they're starting talking about this camp out. Now, of course, I know now that the area of recovery was so big that they had to have an activity subcommittee because the home groups were too busy carrying the message to the addict who still suffered to put on an event. So the activity subcommittee handled that. It was like a permanent ad hoc committee. And if you don't know what an ad hoc committee is, stay clean long enough, you'll get to know what it is. Get plugged into a home group or something. You'll know what that is. Well, I found out that in the activity subcommittee that there was a place for everybody. And as an aspiring DJ who wanted nothing more than to play music in front of an audience of people, he said, hey man, like, we need somebody to do this. And I was like, standing here, you know, I knew that I had what it took to do it, but I didn't dare raise my hand. But he had been around me long enough to know a little bit of my story. And he goes, Terrance, don't you do some of that stuff? And I'm like, well, yeah, kind of do. Trying to sound humble, you know, but I was just biting at the bit to do this thing. And he said, hey man, you know, like it's okay to speak up, you know, in the fellowship that characters are welcome. And I was like, what? I was like, yeah, man, like I'm a character, you know. So I dove in, man. And that was the first bit of service work I got. And when that happened successfully, maybe I wasn't a lost cause. Maybe I was good for something, you know. And now I didn't stay clean, you guys. Let's not get it messed up. My clean date is August 29th, 2016, okay? By the way, that's the day after my wife's birthday. So you know what I was doing on her birthday, right? Not the right thing. Okay? So, exactly. So that story I told you about the camp out, that was 2002. Okay? A long road. So over the years, you guys, of my coming in and going back out, I've come to realize that, number one, I have a hard time asking for help. And I've already said this. I like to tell help how to help me because, you know, I'm a smart dummy. I dropped out of school in the 7th grade after repeating it 3 times, right? Anything worth doing is worth doing 3 times, right? And over time, I realized that I'm not the sum total of my mistakes. I took all my mistakes, I took all the things that happened to me, and I just wore them. I wore them for manipulation because everything that happened to me, oh, poor me. Oh, you've got to hear my story. Oh, God, it's so sad. It's so drastic. It's so, you know, and then people will be like, oh, let me help you. You know, we love a sad story. Women love fixing broke men, y'all. Right? And I use that one a lot. Okay?
I call it the stray dog effect.
The stray dog effect. That's a good one. Hit them with them dopey looking eyes. Yeah. For anybody that's listening, if you haven't gotten to the point where you're just sick and tired of doing what you're doing, give it some time. If you make it, if you plug in, by the way, you guys, I'm not a spokesperson for Narcotics Anonymous. I'm not a spokesperson for AA. I'm not a spokesperson for the church, right? I have found my way into recovery through multiple facets of just about any. You shake a stick at something wild and crazy to stop using dope, I've done it. I've handled snakes, for God's sake. I've beat tambourines and fell on the floor and guttural laughters, and I've done it all, man. I've had hands put on me. I put hands on people. I've done everything to try to get squared away. But I can say this without fail, that that preacher, that therapist from the beginning, leading me to that guy jumping in the hole with me, I found my way into the process of recovery through Narcotics Anonymous. And when that happened, I just fit. Now, my sponsor is an AA, but he fits where he is. We all have to find out what works for us. You know what I mean? But I can tell you what didn't work. Sprinkling dope on it. Like, that never worked. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'll just, let's see if this works out. And it did. It made all my stuff disappear. Right? It made your stuff disappear because I was going to steal all your stuff. It made your marriage break up because, I was going to be chasing down your old lady. Or you were going to be chasing me down because I was looking at your old lady. You know what I mean? That did not work. When I came into and again, you guys, you're talking about over like 2003. Man, I wasted a lot of time. Do the counting, you guys. I wasted a lot of time. But again, it takes what it takes, right? So whenever I left Florida and I jumped on an airplane, by the way, I didn't have money for the ticket. I used somebody else's frequent flyer miles. And I landed in Virginia. It took some time. I think it was 2008. I wish I had my basic text with me. Because I got my clean date in that basic text. Because that was my original basic text. And I remember I found a home group in the basement of the halfway house I was living in. And, I'm lazy, right? So I made the home group in the basement, my home group, because I didn't have to go anywhere, you know what I mean? So those people started to say these really bizarre things, like, hey, Terrance, we believe in you. And, hey, would you like to make the coffee? They taught me how to make coffee. I didn't know how to make coffee. My mom was a waitress, but I didn't know how to make coffee, right? They eventually elected me to be the treasurer of the home group, but I'm a thief. You know, they wanted me to be the group service representative, and I could barely represent a sentence out of my mouth, much less a group of people. You know, but they said, hey man, we believe in you. We trust you. And of all the things that I had ever done, they didn't see any of that. They didn't see any of the destruction that I'd caused. They didn't see any of the mayhem. The only thing they saw was this guy and some potential, you know. They said, okay, well, he's done this, this, and this, and this successfully, right? Guy's got a sponsor. He's coming to his home group. He's active in step work. He's going to hospitals and institutions. He's trying to be of service. Like, let's give this guy a shake. He's hitting all these little check boxes, you know. And little by little, you guys, I just started to believe that I was, you know, maybe, just maybe it was possible that I could change. Just maybe. And one of the things that led me to that was that I was watching other people change because I was in a body of people. I was connected to people. And I would see people come in and there'd be nothing back here behind their eyes. They were just, y'all know what I'm talking about. You ever looked in the mirror when you're high? It wasn't nothing there. You know what I'm saying? And I would see these people that the lights weren't on. And then you give them 30 days, you give them 60 days, you give them 90 days, and you look at them, and they got a smile. You know what I mean? Or maybe they're going to the dentist to get their teeth fixed, because I had to get mine fixed. You know what I mean? And this, you just see them start to show up. Well, what I didn't realize is that people were seeing that happen with me. You know? I was the last person to know that I was sick, y'all. I was sick. And I was also the last person to see that I was starting to bloom. The sickness was starting to fade a little bit. And they were seeing that. And I was seeing that in other people. And I was like, man, this dude is starting to change, man. Have y'all seen, Dirty Mike and the boys around the corner? Like, they starting to get this thing, man. And they're looking at me going, yeah, he's starting to see them because we're starting to see him. And it just started to perpetuate itself, man. I started to realize that I'm not a total piece of garbage. And so I started to not behave like a piece of garbage. I started to stay away from the women, right? When a woman went to go get a cup of coffee, I didn't just watch her walk by, you know? I started looking at people from the neck up. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Women started looking at me from the neck up, you know? I started not envying the guy with the Cadillac because I couldn't afford to repair that thing. I didn't see the flashiness of the car. I saw the repair bill. You know what I mean? I needed a beater. It's something I could work on, you know? I started realizing I could change my own brakes on a car. I could pay bills. Like, what was this, you know? And then I had people coming up to me saying, hey, man, you want to not be a roofer no more and you want to come to work in a air-conditioned place with a collared shirt on and a tie? And I was like, dude, are you talking to me right now? I'm a construction mutt. You know what I mean? That's all I've ever done is construction. And he said, no, man, you'll be good at sales. I was like, you sure? He said, yeah, man, you're a people person. You'll be good. And then slowly but surely, I started realizing that I could do things that I never thought possible. And then I started to dream. There's a part in the literature that I read, it says something to the effect of old dreams need not die and new ones are reawakened or something like that. And man, I'm here to tell you, man, like there's no way possible. If somebody had told me 15 years ago that I would be where I am today, I would have laughed in their face.
Terrance, I don't mean to interrupt, but God was doing for you what you couldn't do for yourself.
He was doing for me what I couldn't do for myself, 100%. But I tell you what he was not doing. He was not doing what I could do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? God, that's a really good point. God does for us what we cannot do for ourselves, but he will not do what we can. I could get to a meeting. I could introduce myself to a sponsor. Did I give my phone number to the dope man? No, because I sold it, but I did get his number. And then I called him on a regular basis. Hey, man, you got any more? You know? So I called my sponsor. Hey, man, what are you doing today? Blah, 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 blah. Just talking, just communicating, you know? And then I went to the local gathering where all these people were, you know? Did I go hang out on the corner with Pookie and Ray Ray? You bet you, yeah, I did. So did I go hang out at the local meeting with recovering Pookie and Ray Ray? Yeah, I sure did. You know? Guys, I need people to understand that it's going to take time. Time takes time. I don't know so much about the walking 2 miles into the woods. Means I got to walk 2 miles out of the woods, because I was told that we all vary in degree of sickness and rate of recovery. I'll say that again. We all vary in degree of sickness and rate of recovery, which means one guy's going to come in here, he'll be sitting here for 6 months with a sponsor, some step work, and the light comes on. But the guy beside him, guy or girl, excuse me, might sit there for 8 years before the light comes on because of the degree of sickness and rate of recovery. So we all vary in that. But it's going to happen. As long as I'm doing my part, which means I get to stand here and do something. I get to go to a meeting and do something. And I know exactly how I got there. I didn't get there on my own will, because my will was taking me in the opposite direction of life. You know what I mean? I was going in the opposite direction. I'm like knocking at the door. Can you just go ahead and let me in? I'm tired of living like this. Just go ahead and take me out. You know what I mean? I'm done. And then, and of course, you know, HP goes, "Oh man, I'm not done with you yet. You got a few more bumps and bruises, but we're getting you on the path that we want you on." You know what I mean? Just don't give up. If you can hear the sound of my voice, whatever you're going through, man, just don't give up. It's like there is no greater gift to the world than a recovering person. Amen. Other than children. Other than kids. No greater gift, man. Look, we are the smartest people there are. We can find our way through just about anything. You know what I mean? We're innovative. We're creative. We're driven. Man, I once sold a ketchup lady to a popsicle wearing white gloves. Some of y'all didn't hear that one. You gotta go. I once sold a ketchup lady to a popsicle wearing white gloves. That was a hard sale. But that popsicle was very happy. Y'all get that one later on. Anyways. Guys, I'm the I try to measure things today, success and whatnot, and my 3 kids let me know when I fail. I got 3 boys. They're 15, 11, and 8. And I fail a lot. But there's something that I do that's really important that was never done for me. Okay? When I make a mistake, I go to my kids, and if they're laying down, I kneel in front of them. And if they're sitting, I bend down. If they're standing, I stand in front of them and I apologize. And I don't make excuses for why I did what I did. I just say, "Listen, man, I apologize. That wasn't right of me," you know? And I've gotten in a regular habit of owning my stuff. Because it's not right. It's not right that I take my bad day out on my kids or my wife, you know? It's gotten easier with time, owning my side of the street, you know? But I've gotten in the habit of doing it. And with that, you guys, I don't like apologizing. It just doesn't feel good. But the more I've apologized, what's actually happened is that I don't feel good doing what it is that I'm doing to lead to the apology. Right? And I'm not going to stand up here and claim, guys, that life is perfect in recovery, because it's not. I got bumps and bruises, and I lose my temper and throw tape measures through walls, and, you know, I cuss people out sometimes. I'm not a perfect human being, but man, it feels good to be able to be clean and to try to get a little bit better, you know? I'm not so sure my walls could tell the same story when no one else is around, you know? Some of y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Because I'll behave this way in front of people, and then behind closed doors, you know? Some of y'all are going to wear that one tonight. If I can If I could reach out, man, and just pull addiction out of people, I would.
Wouldn't that be great?
No. Because it would rob the world of the benefit of that change happening. And, you know, if I pluck it out of you, then you don't get to help somebody, you know what I mean? And I hate it because I want to take pain from people, you know? But it doesn't work that way. Yeah, that's true. I just thought of something. I'll say the story real quick. God will do for us what we can't do for ourselves. I was by the way, you guys, I met my wife in a treatment center. Anybody else? Anybody else meet their old ladies in a treatment center? Nobody else? Okay. Well, we're a success story. We've been married 10 years.
I've married 13 people who met in the treatment center.
Really?
13 couples.
Man, wow, 13 couples. Lucky number. If you believe in luck. I don't believe in luck. Anyways, so I met my wife in the treatment center, and I instantly laid claim to her. Instantly. And I looked into her dopamine-starved eyes, and I knew that she was the one. Anyways, I had this moment, man, where I was exercising on God doing for us what we couldn't do for ourselves. And I remember I walked over, I didn't have a roommate at the time, and I walked over to my cabinet or whatever, had the clothes in it, you know, and I had some nice clothes, you know, and I opened it up, and I raised my hands in the air, and I said, okay, God, I said, dress me. And I just stood there naked. Because God doesn't do for us what we can do for ourselves. He kept me alive long enough to find my way into that treatment center. And then people donated clothes to me, really nice clothes, like Terry Dean, turn cuff, like nice stuff. And but it was up to me to dress myself, right? It's up to me. It's up to every individual in the process of recovery to be an active participant of that process of recovery. But again, guys, I'm as lazy as they come, man. I want everybody to do everything for me, man. Like, I don't really want to have to do anything. If I could afford a really expensive coffee machine that auto ground the coffee and put it in the filter and clean the filter and put the creamer in there for me and added the sugar that I wanted and spit the cup of coffee at the end, man, if I could get one of those vending machines from the hospital, you know, 2 sugars, 3 creamers, good to go, you know. Man, if life was like that, oh man, wouldn't that be grand? You know what I mean? Just fix my problems with my wife. Boop. All right. Need a raise at work, right? I have robbed people of their process of recovery by being too invested in their lives, you know. Allow me to fix you, or I'm your sponsor, but you know, I'm basically gonna try to do the step work for you, you know. And I pray to God I haven't killed anybody in that process, but I've had to learn how to sponsor people. And I didn't do so well at watching other people sponsor people. So anyways, I digress. You guys, when I was getting ready to, when I got the text message to come up here, I was like, man, that's right, I did agree to come up there, okay. And I had a lot of other things that could be happening on this weekend. I was supposed to go meet with some promoters, because I still DJ, you guys, professionally, out in public, in all sorts of settings, and just started a business for that. And I was supposed to go down to New Orleans to this big festival that's happening down there for Mardi Gras and meet with some other promoters who are from Jackson because they were going to be there. And I told my business partner, I said, hey, man, you got to go without me. He said, oh, man, we've made plans. I bought tickets. And I'm like, sorry. Like, I've got things to do. You know what I mean? I'm still learning to balance recovery. And everything that recovery gives me. I can't say balance work in recovery. I don't get to say balance DJing in recovery. I don't get to say balancing my kids in recovery, because if it wasn't for recovery, I wouldn't have a job. I wouldn't have the ability to DJ somewhere and stay clean. I wouldn't have a family, right? I wouldn't have any of the things that I have. I wouldn't have any of that stuff if not for recovery. So I don't need to learn to balance anything with recovery. I have to learn how to balance recovery because everything lives in that cup. And it's kind of like pouring oil and water in different colors in a cup, and you got to get the balance right. One's red, one's green, and one's blue, but they're still in the cup of recovery, So it was tough for me to say, hey man, I can't go. I gotta be here. Man, I was going somewhere with that and I completely forgot.
We appreciate you being here. Yes, absolutely.
Anyways, I'm not gonna sit here and just ramble for absolutely no reason, you guys. Listen, I'm so grateful that you called me, man. I'm glad that you reminded me to come up here because I know I would be 120 miles south if you hadn't reminded me. You would have been like, hey man, are you coming? I'm like, I'm in Louisiana. I wouldn't have been here. But for anybody who's listening and not physically here, you guys, help somebody, man. Just help someone. I don't hesitate to pick up hitchhikers, y'all. That's just me. My wife hates that I do it. I'll do it with the kids in the car. I don't care. Like if I get pulled to do something like that, I just do it, My mama used to tell me to listen to my gut, right? And that's for dangerous things. But for blessings, I should listen to my heart and ignore the rest of the stuff in my head, which is typically diseased thinking that tells me not to do something for someone else. Because who knows? Who knows who they're going to bump into? I'll tell you this quick story real fast, and I'm going to bone out. Well, I still got plenty of time, but still. So New Year's I'm in New Orleans. So we went out to see some DJs and stuff, you guys. And thank God that recovery gives me permission to live life outside of the rooms of recovery. And some of you guys are going to learn this over time, right? I'm allowed to go to concerts as long as I communicate with my sponsor. And I'm up to date, like doing actual step work, being of service to other people, and I'm spiritually fit. I get to go be a responsible, productive member of society. Well, if I'm a responsible, productive member of society, that means I have no fear. I should have some limitations based on my spiritual maintenance, but I shouldn't have any fear. So I'm down in New Orleans for New Year's. We go to check out some DJs and bump into some promoters if we can, but it's a weird business model. I'm not going to get in that part. Anyways, so we're down there, and it's like 7:30 in the morning. We got there 9 o'clock the night before. We've stopped. We've pulled away. We've got some food. Try to get our second wind about us. And we're walking 3 miles through New Orleans on New Year's, the day of New Year's, right? And guys, it is cold. I'm wearing shorts. I look bad, right? Because, don't get it confused. Like, I'm a biker. I'm a raver, right? I'm an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? I'm a father. I coach soccer. You know what I mean? So, like, if you could dress me up as any one of those things, just go ahead and don't do that. You know what I mean? Don't dress me up as anything. Just know I'm a human being, and I love multiple facets of different things in life, right? So we're walking down the road, and we see this guy, man, and this dude is just black, clothes, dirty, man, pants ripped up to here. And there's this little median. If you guys ever been on New Orleans after New Year's, you know what I'm talking about because there's just people of the lowest of the low. By the way, I raise my hand when I say that. And this guy's just kicking this dirt on the side of the curb for no reason. And it's me and two of my guys. And I look over at one of them in the front, and the other one goes, man, like that's, you know what I mean? Like you're just looking at this guy like, man, this is rough, dude. And I'm looking at this guy, and I don't want to meet his glance. And y'all know what I'm talking about. Because when y'all see that guy at the corner of your window in your car holding up the sign, you don't really want to meet his glance. I didn't want to meet his glance. He's in the median of the road. I'm over here on the sidewalk. My boy's right there. And this dude goes, man, I think that's his job. And a part of me wanted to laugh. And he's parallel to me. And I'm walking like this, man. And my heart just pulled me to that guy. And I didn't hesitate. I just walked straight toward him. And he turned around. And as he's turning around, I heard him say that we've all fallen short of the glory of God. And I was just like, what? And I wrapped my arms around this dude, man. And we just started crying in the middle of the street. Just crying. And I told this guy, I said, man, I see you, man. You know what I mean? I see you. And we just started bawling, man. And I was like, it's going to be okay. And he just stops and kind of shoulder grabs me and pulls me away. And he says, I know it's going to be okay. Do you know it's going to be okay? And we just had this moment. And we turned and we started walking toward this homeless encampment. I said, hey man, you want to go to Cafe Du Monde, get some coffee and some beignet? He said, no man, I've got something to do. And I said, hey man, I looked him in the eye again. I pointed to him. I said, I love you. He said, I love you. And we went our separate ways. And my business partner looked at me. He said, man, are you okay? I'm tears, full on tears, man, like snot and everything. And I hugged my buddy and I said, man, that was me. He goes, what? I said, that was me, dude. I said, all those years ago, man, I said, that was me. I said, I never want to be in that position again. Never. I never want to be in that position again. But again, we never know who we can help. I was always in a position to use. I should always be in a position to be useful. It doesn't matter who I'm helping. It matters that I'm helping. So whenever we go forward to the rest of the week, you guys, I want to implore y'all to find something outside of your normal whatevers to be helpful to somebody. Amen. In a manner that really pushes you to your limit. I'm not talking about rolling down the window and saying, have a blessed day. Yeah. Anybody with a gun in the passenger seat can do that. I want to push you guys, man, to go a little bit further in y'all's recovery. And this is the dangerous part. I want y'all to take some chances. Take some chances. Do something you said you'd never do. I had a fear of riding horses. Horses are dangerous at both ends, y'all. But my wife put me on a horse, and I rode a horse. My wife's scared of heights, but I put her through a zip line course. Clean. And I think that's what a part of recovery really is, man. It's just not staying stuck in a place of comfort in recovery. It's being good in recovery and going out and living, man. Go live. You know what I mean? Go bungee jumping. I don't know if you guys like bungee jumping or not. I do. Still want to go skydiving. Right? I want to go climb a mountain somewhere. I want to reel in a daggum tuna, y'all. You know what I mean? I wanted to be a soccer coach. Guess what? I'm a soccer coach. I wanted to be a business owner. You know what I mean? Let's not get stagnant in recovery and think that we just get to sit back and do nothing now that we're not using anymore. Right. Oh, I'm not using. Life's great. Yeah. This is my calling in life. I think there's a little bit more to it than that. Going out and having... This doesn't sound right when I say it. Going out and having fun. What? You tell me I get to have fun in recovery? I don't have to be miserable? Look, if I see a miserable person in recovery, I'm going the opposite direction. Because I don't want that company. Misery loves company. Now, if they want some help, I'll help them. But if they just downright miserable, man, I'm gone, dude. I ain't got no time for none of that, man. I got enough bad stuff in between my ears. I can't have nobody stealing what little bit of joy I got left. You know? I want to be around people who are digging in, dude. You know what I mean? Who are getting it. Going out and getting it, man. I want y'all to go out and get it. And if you don't think you can go out and get it, find somebody else who's going out and get it and grab their shirt. Go out and get it with you. You know what I mean? That's how I got involved in Narcotics Anonymous. I shirt-tailed people, man. You're going to get some coffee. Nobody was inviting me to go get coffee. I invited myself to go get coffee. Dope man didn't knock on my door and said, hey, man, got some good stuff. I was chasing him down. So I chased down people in recovery too, man. I'm grabbing life by the horns, you guys, because I never thought I'd be here. Wasn't supposed to be here. Wasn't supposed to make it out of my 20s. But here I stand, 46. And I don't think God got me clean for me to be blah. Just blah. No. Now that I'm living life, if I got to be blah, I'm going to go and ask the big man to go and take me out again. Because I don't think that's what he wants for us, man. I think he wants us to be excited and electric and doing, you know? Anyways, that's enough out of me. Thank you guys for letting me share. And don't forget to concentrate on that magic 6-letter word, others. Thanks.
Amen. I love you so much.